Asset Management, which is an arm of Aditya Birla Group Financial Services, with which is the fifth largest player in its business of asset management, 65,000 crores of average AUM, and 15 years of relentless service in investment services. That's trust for you. Today, through our journey in our presentation, we'll go through the introduction of the institutional business. Along with that, we'll also see the process of new clients acquisition. In addition to that, like every business, we also suffer from a few limitations, so I'll mark out those as well. And before I start the presentation, I would also make a mention over the fact that I'm not here just to describe what I've made. I'm also here for new ideas and feedback. So that is also very imperative. So let's start. Firstly, we'll just go through or distinctify how institutional business is different from the normal ones. There are a few principles that govern this business. First one is direct interface. The institutional business requires a direct interaction with the client, and the product is to be put across to the investor by the RM. At the choice of the distributor, bank and IFA is at the discretion of the client. Now the last client here holds a lot of importance, because my colleagues and counterparts in the same company who are doing the same business, but they are doing a channel management, are reaching the same investor, but then again the route is different. They are known to their channel partners, they are known to their distributors, but are reaching the investor. I have to go to the investor directly. So our destination is same, the routes are different. Second thing, handling corporate investments in liquid and liquid plus schemes require a perfect coordination with the client and a prompt action. Now, since the liquid and liquid plus timings are very stringent and we have to adhere to them 12 and 3, so coordination with the client is very, very critical. Third, now since here we are talking about a company and not an individual, there are a set of documents that are very relative to the fact, and we need to keep a track on that as well. So the few documents that we require for introducing a company to our franchise are board resolution, authorized signatory list, MOA, the PAN, KYC, trust deed, and in case the trust is not registered, we require the PAN of the trustees. Then the next point, we require to do regular visits to our clients on a regular basis. Now, why are regular visits very, very imperative in the institutional format? Because they give us 3 opportunities on each visit. Firstly, I update the client on how his investments are doing with my company. Secondly, I have an opportunity of introducing the new products, my structures, my FMPs, my NFOs to the client. And last and most important, it deepens my relationship with the client, which is very, very imperative in our trade. Next, it is very important for us also to see that we are well informed over the market happenings. How is the market doing for us? And for this, we also need to maintain our touch with our institutional distributors and our bankers, which are a source of information. For example, there's a new client who's floating into the market. So we need to see who are the prime banks who are catering to that client. So this is the type of market information which is required by us on a regular basis. Last, a feedback. Now, since the margins at which the institutional business is done is quite small, it's just the game of volumes. So we need to see versus the peers that where do we stand. We have to value add the investor in terms of service or a product, else the money will flow out from us, and if this becomes regularity, we can land into a suit. Next, the process of acquisitions. As I marked out, there are a lot of theories that surround the client acquisition process, but at Birla we do follow a very good format, but that's elementary but quite effective. The first one, lead generation. How do we do that? The lead generation starts from cold calls. That's painful because the entire gamut of investors can also retaliate fearlessly. Then we have newspapers, scanning databases. We have channel partners who have information with them. Second, our target audience. This is a point of distinction which has to be very clear, because of the fact that here I am addressing people and audience who are maybe more learned than me, have more number of years of experience than what I have, but I have to put my product in a crisp manner so that it's understandable to them. So my target audience are CFOs, head treasury, financial controllers, head of finance, proprietors and promoters in case of SMEs. Next, now once I'm able to crack a call with the CFO, it doesn't mean that I'll have a call straight away tomorrow to his office. What he'll ask for is an investment proposal. Now, as far as the investment proposal is concerned, there are a few guidelines which need to be maintained here. First, a brief group introduction has to be given for the company. Crisp pointers on schemes which are sought for investments have to be put down. Latest returns, AUMs, average maturities and mark-to-markets pertaining to different portfolios have also to be put down very clearly. Then our credentials, ratings and rankings given to us by the bodies, CRISIL and ICRA. Finally, the meeting the client, for which we wait so hard. Now, why meeting the client is very important in institutional? there are a few reasons why we should do that. Firstly, I have to assess the size of his treasury, whether he's a small treasury, a mid-size or a big one. And what if it's a small or a mid-size, what is the potential in it to become a big one? Secondly, duration of the surplus and mode of generation. This requires a bit of understanding. For example, there's a treasury that has 500 crores. Now, it doesn't know what is suited to it, but it does know what is the duration of its inflow and outflow. He makes three segregations. Firstly, he dedicates 300 crores to our Birla Sun Life savings and cash manager, which have no entry and exit notes. So this is completely liquid. Secondly, there is some money out of this which he thinks he can part for around a couple of quarters. So we have medium term and a few structures which are there. So I'll put 200, somewhere around 100 crores here into structures. Now very aggressive treasuries would also like to cater to somewhere around 50 to 100 crores to equity if they are very aggressive. So that is also segregation which can happen. And then the last of all, the documentation which I already mentioned. Follow up with the client. Now once I've met the client, the trigger is started. What I need to do is that I need to follow the client on a very close line. When I mention the word line, it's a very clear distinction that I don't want to displease the client at the very moment, but I want that my brand and myself, the recall should be created in the mind of the investor. That is very, very important. The final crack. When we have the final crack, it's the first purchase by the client, that is extremely important. The process of transaction management has to be smooth. Therefore, we need to do our homework and prepare the documents in advance to avoid any last minute delays. Once the client is introduced to a franchise, the real work starts, because now the client is your responsibility. So servicing the clients becomes very, very important. Once the client is introduced to the MC, he must be properly serviced. Regular account statements are to be sent to him. Confirmation on transactions of purchase and redemption are to be given on a regular basis. Balance confirmation has to be prepared for his auditors at the end of each month, for which I am thankful to Priyanka Sharma, who is a sales support. She's been doing a fantastic job on it. Adhering to these services, normally we are able to extract an extra allocation from the client, because as I told you, the margins at which the entire trade is done is too small. So what you can distinctify yourself is from service and a good backup. Next, post introduction, we need to meet the client regularly, because his needs are changing. Now what we need to do is that he has different surplus in different quarters, and he requires different scheme for investments in that. So that is what we need to cater to. Very important, we have to make him feel that he is extremely important to our company, because he is contributing to our business. Next, unlike any business, even we suffer from a few limitations. First one, higher gestation period. As you've gone through the process of new clients acquisition, you will be noticing the fact that it is a cumbersome task, and it is a long task. For example, in a lot of treasuries, we have to wait for the general body meeting to table our proposal, and then it gets acclaimed. So that is the time you need to get a corporate to your franchise. Then management of heavy outflows. Now, because of the very fact that money that is the 500, 600 crores that a company is parked with you is not for infinity, it has to come out. So I have fixed gestures during my investments where I know that the money will go out. For example, in September I have the advanced tax outflows. So I have to see to the fact that what is the average till the last date that I can maintain with those flows. Next, transaction management, transfer letter and coordination of funds. Once we receive the purchase is not the end of the story. In fact, it's the beginning of the story, because once I have the purchase at 12, I need to coordinate the funds from his account to mine are in time. Because if they are not, or if there are no funds at the time, I'll be hit by an OD of 18%, which is again burdening on us. Last, time bound. As you all know, liquid and liquid plus have a time certification. Liquid has to go through 12 and the liquid plus has to go through 3. So these are the time bounds that I have. Now the sum up. Now this is a small game that I have arranged for the audience. I have just used the icons that I have used in the presentation. So I would now just urge upon you guys to help me out. What icon stands for what concept? And there is a surprise gift. Please.
First one is meeting the client.
I'll take that. It's direct interaction. Third one, I guess the guy is just hiding it, but it's still clear. Documentation.
Investment proposal. Regularly meeting the client.
Precisely, regularly meeting the client. Next. Follow. Next is my meeting with distributors. very important that I need to see my channel partners and all for regular market updates. The last one, I guess it's self-explanatory, it's a feedback. The acquisition process is all clear to you. It's a lead generation, target audience, investment proposal, meeting the client, follow up, that final crack, client service, and regular visits. So now, game part 2, limitations to trade. Can you please help me out with this one?
Time bound.
Time bound. Next one.
The money has to
If that's not clear, that's my net where I'm trying to catch money. So-
Alright.
That managing outflows.
So much outcome.
The next one, Priyanka, I would give this opportunity to you, please.
Facts. Facts.
Last one is time bound. There's a hidden question also in this one. Can someone just find out? There's a hidden question in this slide.
When is the cutoff time?
12 and 3.
That's one. But there's something else as well.
Feedback.
I know where that arrow is taking me after meeting the client. Can someone tell me where is the arrow taking me after regular visits?
More investment from it.
She's got it. It takes me against to lead generation. I have to have a pipeline of around 70 investors to get 7 into my company. So a pipeline is very, very imperative. And yeah, it's time for a gift, so you guys can have a chloromid on your gift.